Welcome back to the online podcast. This is now episode 4 of the Black Exceptionalism series we have this month. Today I'm joined by multiple-time Hall of Famer, both in high school and college, track star at Loyola University, 4-time conference winner in the high jump, now head physician for not only UC Davis and the Sac Republic, but some small team called Team USA, Dr. Faustin.
You did your homework.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
We tried.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored. I'm so proud of you for doing this.
Thank you.
This is amazing.
Thank you. So, just to dive right into it, Can you talk to us about that transition from going, all conference track starts, now a head physician? What's that transition like been for you?
Man, you know what? There are a lot of similarities. There are some differences, obviously, in what we're doing, but the foundation of what athletics teaches you and what you already know through your time here at UC Davis and being a football player is really that hard work,
right? The
discipline, the ability to work with a team and those that are around you. And honestly, most importantly, the ability to not reach your goals,
right,
to fail in a way so that you have to really lift yourself back up and keep trying again and again and again. And I think that even moving from a student athlete to now being a physician and having the blessing and the privilege to take care of student athletes it's hard.
Right.
Right before I ran up here and I was late and I had just called Dr. Burnham because I wanted help with a case, and you still need your team around you and you still need to be humbled within yourself to say, how do I do the best for this person that's in front of me?
Right. So now you have the translation between athlete and now physician,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of correlation. Are there any challenges that may arise now working from anywhere from, college athletes to, some considered the greatest of all time in their sport?
Uh-huh.
What are some challenges that you see?
I think the challenges that we see just amongst humans, right? Our whole goal here is to connect with others and for us to relate with each other so that we can reach that common goal. And I think when taking care of patients, even in my general population in Sacramento, whether it's my little pumpkin little kids or my 95-year-old patient, who I'm taking care of, is that we have to connect on what is your goal? Why are you here to see me? The goal is to be as healthy as possible, but what does that quality of life look like for you? For you guys as student athletes, what does that look like? You have to do well. You want to be able to play your football. You want to be able to make it all the way to the end of December for playoffs.
Right.
You also need to be a great student too. And so how do I help you achieve that goal? And same as when you get higher than that is, what are your goals and how can I help you to get there and to do it as safe as possible? And I think that's where it can become difficult when, I have to make tough decisions and say, I'm sorry, I can't allow you to do that. We're just not safe enough to be able to do that. And those are difficult conversations, but I think it starts with having trust amongst ourselves. Me trusting that athlete and then them also trusting me so we can work together.
Right. No, people don't just wake up and become a physician, especially not transitioning from sports.
Yeah.
Was there still that same support? As a lot of collegiate athletes, we have large support staff
Mm-hmm.
from coaches, from even physicians,
Mm-hmm.
and moving forward. When you transitioned, did you still have that support?
I did. And the reason why I became a family medicine and sports medicine physician is because when I was a track and field athlete at Loyola Chicago, my team physician, his name was Dr. Neeraj Jayanthi. He still practices at Emory in Georgia, but he was looking at my knee and I said, what do you do? And he said, come with me. He took me to his clinic. He took me to the hospital. He showed me exactly what he did. And that's how I said, this is what I want to do with my life. And so holding on to those mentors throughout the process of, doing undergraduate,
Right.
being a biology major, I will tell you, being a student athlete was harder than when I was in medical school. At least when I was in medical school, we were all focused on the same goal.
Right.
Whereas when you're a student athlete, you have to do your studies, but you also have to do your sport too.
Right.
And it was at times could be conflicting issues that you were dealing with. And so I think it set me up to remember to have those mentors around me to help me as I went through each stage of life. And I still have my mentors to today that I call very often, to give them an update and to get their advice because they've already done it. They've had the experience.
Building that network.
Exactly.
And that's huge. Now, Now, speaking of network, going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Now, that's just a huge accomplishment in itself. But how did you go from starting out physician to now being one of the head physicians for Team USA?
Yes. So growing up, I've always loved gymnastics. I did volleyball, gymnastics, and track up through college. Gymnastics, I just happened to not be as talented at, but I loved it.
Right.
But when I got to my residency, I knew I wanted to work with the team. I didn't even know what that could look like. But I had mentors around me that said, here's what you do. Here's how you show up so you can be at the right place at the right time. And really take advantage of opportunities that present themselves to you, even when you don't feel like you can do it. I think that was kind of the biggest thing where my mentors and my family helped me with, to say, just, you have to jump in. Right. You have to jump in and trust yourself to be able to do the work with that. And so through volunteering initially with the physicians at that time, Dr. Alicia Green, and then being able to transfer into being the co-head team physician, has really been a lot of fun. And I've been doing it for about 6-7 years at this point, and gotten to go to the Tokyo Olympics in Paris. Right. And so it's a blessing to be a part of people's stories.
Now, speaking specifically on the Tokyo Olympics, for those who didn't watch the Simone Biles documentary on Netflix, you were in there a lot. You were in there a lot, especially at the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you, not just being there, but playing the role you did?
I have to say, when I was at the Tokyo Olympics, my 2 words to describe it was exhilarating and it was devastating. There was no middle emotion for myself, and probably for a lot of us that were there, because it was a difficult time. And during that time, the focus was, how do we best support not just Simone, but the entire team, because everybody's impacted it. Her family, her network, the USA Gymnastics organization, the rest of the medical people, because there was not even a family member that was allowed to go to the Olympics, and so we played many different roles to help support them. I think looking back, actually, when I watched the documentary, I had never actually seen the television aspect of it, and it gives you chills. It was a really, really challenging time, but I think, her resilience and her team and everybody around her's resilience to be able to really move forward is just beautiful.
It's huge. Was there anything that shocked you while you were there? Not just Tokyo in general, but the Olympics as a whole, because you're going from, collegiate and pro athletes to now the top of the top.
Yes.
Was there anything that was a drastic difference, or was shocking or new to you?
I have 2 things. What was shocking is how it was not so different to take care of those athletes at that level. Of course, I understand we're at the Olympics.
Right.
The world is watching us. But it's like I'm talking to you, Zaire. When you come to see me in clinic, similar as when I see those athletes, we have a relationship that we're working on, not the entity that the world makes them to be. And so you're just supporting the person in front of you. Which makes it nice, right? With understanding the implications of the decisions that I make. The other part that I didn't really understand was that for gymnastics, the preliminary competition, which is the first one that helps you qualify for the team, the all-around final, the event finals, all of USA is fighting amongst each other for that spot. And you don't realize that's actually maybe the most stressful competition of them all. And I hadn't known that until I was there and experiencing it with all of them.
Yeah. A lot of, that's essentially for basketball terms, it's like the Team USA summer tryouts.
Exactly.
Where there's times where they're cutting a Kevin Durant. Not saying he got cut, but you have to pick between them. So I can only imagine being not the player, but working with the player and having that relationship, picking between 2 friends has to be insane.
Exactly. It's so difficult, and you forget that they're with each other and they're teammates, but they're also not teammates for some time period, right? They're all fighting for that same spot. And so it's a difficult thing to navigate, and they do it so well, right? So much that we don't really even notice it. Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of the relationships you did build there. Now, we had a pretty dope moment at the last Olympics where there was an all-black podium for gymnastics. It was Jordan Childs, Simone Biles. I'm forgetting the lady's name for Brazil.
Rebecca Andrade.
Who's, I believe she finished first at that one, right?
She did. It was for the floor.
What did that moment mean for you, for the culture, I should say, and just as a Black woman as a whole? What was the impact of that?
It gives me chills. it gives me chills because I even think to myself when I go to a big conference, and I remember there was this black orthopedic doctor, black female, and she spoke in front of the hundreds, and all of us that are minorities were texting each other. We were like, whoa, she's doing it. Like, we can do it. You can see yourself in it, even while you're still trying to work towards it. And so for those women to show their camaraderie, that they are working together versus the script that tries to be played for the black women, and for them to say that everybody gets to have praise and we can all do it together and we're stronger together. That's beautiful. And that impact around the world is more than we can possibly know. And that's what's so beautiful.
I think especially on that stage, seeing it made it even way greater than, not saying greater than what it was, but it was already huge. Exactly. And then making it even more magnified, which it was a beautiful moment to see, especially throughout last year, and then recently with the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of things that are aligning. Now I do want to transition back away from Olympics.
Okay.
Talk a little bit more about you.
Okay.
How do you find time through all this, working with thousands of athletes, always keeping a smile? How do you find time to take care of yourself?
You've just got to make it a priority. Yeah. And what is most important to me are my relationships, my family, my friends, my relationships that I have with you guys. Like, that's what brings me joy, to be able to be a part of other people's journeys. And so I foster that, things that are important, I make sure to make it, or I go back home to Chicago because that's a priority. Right. And the other thing is I'm big on exercising. Ever since college, coming out of athletics, it's hard to find your footing and how you're going to maintain yourself. But doing new adventures, like my husband and I and some people from work, we do triathlons, and then started taking piano lessons a couple years ago, because you just have to remember that you still have to find parts of yourself, because it's so easy to get lost in the work that we're doing, no matter what it is that you're doing. And
we talked about in a previous episode that a lot of athletes struggle when they do transition, even if it's into their career field. It's a sense of identity, talking about losing that kind of support. You were fortunate enough to where your field that you went into, you still had that support. But a lot of people don't realize that a lot of athletes, when they are done playing, there's a lot of missing holes. Just because we found one of the bigger parts of our body, wherever you want to go into that realm, but there's still a lot of human we got to figure out. So for you to still have that athlete in you and still figuring things out while still having fun and then well into your career is pretty huge.
It's an important, and the time is now, right? The time, which is what I try to really teach to my patients or whoever it may be, that you have to find what fuels your soul right now and then just hold on to it. There are going to be times when there's just not time to do those things you want to do, and that's okay, but you can always come back to it. But you need to figure it out on your own. The phone will not help you get there, I always joke, because people during COVID, everybody listened to podcasts. People love podcasts. We're currently doing one. But I am not an auditory learner. And, when I would drive home, I'm like, oh, I should listen to a podcast because that's what everyone's doing. And I was like, why am I doing this? I'm going to go home. I'm going to watch reality TV, and I'm going to feel a lot of joy from that. And that's okay.
That's beautiful. Now, for people who have met you, you smile a lot.
Okay.
You have a lot of fun. Very enthusiastic, very energetic. For you, Dr. Faustin, what makes you smile?
It's my favorite question, Zaire. People make me smile. Yes, Mom. Excellent question. People make me smile. To be able to connect with others, to watch them overcome, to watch them reach their goals, to watch them have joy. It makes me smile.
That's huge. Well, thank you again for your time. Zaire, I know, busy schedule.
What makes you smile? I need to know what makes you smile.
What makes me smile? I've actually never really thought about this. I guess similar, just learning about other people kind of makes me smile. It's not necessarily, about me, but like I'm very curious to see other people's perspectives. And I think that's part of why I kind of do this now and have this platform is I'm always eager to learn. I think that what makes me smile. It kind of fuels me a little bit, gets me going. So,
You're going to keep changing the world, Zaire. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Well, we thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
This is episode, I'm not going to say a number because I don't know.
4.
Episode 4 of the Black Exceptionalism series. I believe this is episode 15 of Online Podcast. Thank you for your time.